Good morning, everybody. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom. I hope you had a great weekend. As we're working on this Boost Your Business incentive that the company has given us, I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of things with you, and I'm curious how your activity is going. Like we had talked about, if you've kind of been out of activity, it takes a while to get those conversations sort of woken up and start contacting people, start communicating with them, starting to get some response from people. If you've not done an event in a while, same thing, building out your list, who are you going to invite, that sort of thing. And so I'm curious from you guys, how's that going? So I want you to be thinking this last week activity that you started, what did that look like? And I have just started some activity up again. I did a sourdough event, so I thought I'd tell you guys how that ended up. I have 12 spots open for those classes, and I had two that were still unavailable or still open at the end of the like inviting process. So it was last Thursday. So by Thursday around 4, I still had two slots open. So I was making some last minute. I just always prep for 12 anyway. Last minute, two people canceled, one who had not paid, and then one who forgot. So three people did not show up that had said they were coming, which was fine because there were other people that did last minute. They just paid and they just showed up. So it ended up I had two spots left at the counter. So we just took one of the bowls away, and my friend that was helping me, she made bread, and we just kind of scooted everyone around. So I was a little bit panicked because this couple comes in and they're a younger couple. They end up being cousins. I didn't know that. I wasn't assuming, but I guess I was assuming. I didn't know like who it was. And they introduced themselves, and it was funny because he, I was like in my head, as people are coming to the door, I'm thinking, I asked the girl her name and she said Jasmine. And I was like, I don't have a Jasmine on my list. Like, what happened, right? So my head is like trying to think, who is this? Like, have I forgotten? Will I have enough space? And there was definitely not a guy that was on my list. So, hi, what's your name? He said his name was Matthew. And I was like, oh dear, like that's two people now. Will I have enough spots? Like, I don't know who these people are. So I'm just processing all of this as people are coming in. I'm directing them in to go wash their hands. Like, my friend wasn't there to help me yet. So my brain is working and just thinking, thinking, thinking. And I have them come into um, to the counter, and they're setting up and there's more people coming in. So then we're still waiting for this one gal that had said she was coming. So I was just introducing myself to everyone. And these two younger kids, I asked them, what year did you graduate? And she said 22. And I was like, oh, that's with Kyler. And she said, yeah, I know Kyler and Ansley. And I was like, oh, that's great. So then I asked the guy, what year did you graduate? And he was like, I graduated with Matthew and Brielle. I was in their wedding. And I was like, oh my gosh, he was like, started laughing. I was like, Matthew, oh my gosh, I do know you. And it just had thrown me off. Like, yeah, he looked familiar, but I had never met him from before the wedding, and I didn't spend a lot of time with those boys, but he was at our house getting ready all day, and he was in the wedding. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ridiculous. And we laughed about it, but I was like, I didn't put your face together in this situation making bread, and his name had never come across that I connected it. I don't even know if I would have anyway. So that was kind of funny. So he was actually in their wedding and I didn't recognize him. So that's how insane my brain is at times. But we were just laughing about it. So that was fun. That day I had a mama that ordered a quad, and I had talked with her. She's a part of my mom's group. I had gone to coffee with her before, twice, just getting to know her. So that's an example of I had invited her to some events, but she wasn't able to come to those events. So she came to the sourdough and she ordered that night. And so it was accumulation of conversations that had already happened. When we met for coffee, we weren't really talking Juice Plus. I was just getting to know her. And like I said, she comes to my mom's group, so I was just getting to know her from that. But I had invited her to a couple events because the interest was sort of there. And then she had been thinking about it. And then she said, I'm so glad you went over Juice Plus because I do think that this is something that I want to go ahead and order. So I helped her build out a cart and sent it to her, and she ordered that night. Another one was a customer that wanted to try the superfood, so she just ordered 30 servings of it. And then another gal came that she's hard to read. Like, I've spent quite a bit of time with her in ministry and doing things together, and I just never know, like, does she like me? Does she like people? Does she like other people and not me? Like, it's just hard to get into her like circle, and I think she's just kind of guarded, but she does some great things with women's ministry in our church. And so I always just kind of don't know. And she came, and she's never shown any interest in Juice Plus, like events, posts that I've done, nothing. But she came to the sourdough event. She seemed like she was having a lot of fun. And then she said, I tell me about the difference between the superfood powder. She does Bloom, if you guys have heard of that company. She said, I'm already used to pouring something in water and mixing it up and drinking it. She said, but this actually tastes quite a bit better, and I'm sure your products are better quality. And I said, plus your son gets it for free. And she was like, yeah, he's in college. He eats terrible. And I said, let's get him the gummies. So she said, I'm going to take these home and I'm going to get back to you. I'll get them back to you. So I saw her at church yesterday and just said hello to her. And then it's up to me this week, right, to wake up that conversation again or keep feeding it, because she didn't say anything at church, which I wouldn't have either. It just kind of isn't the place. Unless they approach me, then I will talk to them. And yeah, she said, I will get this back to you. And she did have interest. So I can sit on that conversation and just wait and wait and wait, or I can be proactive and keep going with it. That's my job. That's my responsibility, because she needs to be led what to do next, right? So I'm going to say, which of your boys did you decide you want to get on Juice Plus for free? Send me their name, his name and birth date, and I'll build you out a cart so you can see what that looks like. And then I'm sure she'll send me the information. So that's kind of on me to keep going with that. So I thought I would tell you kind of those results of that one event. And then I've got some other events that I'm going to do, just a watch party with a dinner that we had made up the invite in verbiage last week together. And then there's another market coming up that I'm going to do. And I have all of those contacts from the market to just keep going with. So the other thing I would say is I met with one of my newer team members. She's a QSC, and helped both of her girls get signed up as partners and gave them the vision using those sheets of the Build Your Business, Boost Your Business sheets, because they're new partners. She's existing, and showed them what could this look like. And we just really went through, like, who are 3 people that you think would be most likely to order Juice Plus? So we wrote their names in pencil. And then I said, who would you love to have on your team? Who do you think would share with some friends and family? Then they all 3 said 3 people. So I wrote their names as partners. And then I said, okay, who in each of their lives would be their other 2 customers? And they were like, oh yeah, definitely their mom and their sister or their best friend or whatever. So we wrote their names in on that sheet. Within 5 minutes, we had the whole sheet filled out. Of course, that's like best case scenario, right? Like that everyone they talk to orders. That's probably not going to happen. But and I told them that I was realistic with them, but I said, look, this is what we're looking at. Does this look doable to you? And I said, you get all of the prizes, and you get this much cash. So they were pretty excited about both of those things. So again, I can't just leave them to do that. I got them on Voxer. Now we're all 4 of us in a little Voxer chat, and I can start feeding them education, feeding them next steps, helping answer their questions, which I was already today. So that's an example with helping an existing partner to be able to move forward and get this boost your business incentives, and with her two new people. And then I thought of this gal that came, the young mom that came to my mom's life group, and she ordered. I did mention it to her. I said, I don't know, you might want to do what we do, because Natasha and I were there together, and I said, we both pay $52 a year and then we order from ourselves. Can you think of anyone else that would like to order? What about your husband? And she was kind of like, I don't know, vague, like, I'm not sure. So I'm definitely going to invite her to tomorrow night or Wednesday night's talk with Carrie Ann. So that's where I wanted to lead you guys today, is to some of the resources that Doug gave us for the Boost Your Business incentive. We can really use this verbiage and inviting. So I put that link into our chat just now, and I want to go over this, and then I want to hear from you guys how your conversations went, because I think we can really learn from this. But Doug used AI to help build this out, and then obviously he made it his own. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're just going to walk through this together. So you guys can see this, right? That says event invite for 7/23 business curiosity event. Someone give me a thumbs up. Make sure you can see this on the screen. Okay, so this is a type of event that he's been doing. Carrie Lynn, I'm sorry, I said Carrie Ann. Carrie Lynn. It's more of like a podcast or a conversation. He had Leela Dunn on there a couple weeks ago. It's fabulous. I really, really enjoyed it. And it was a lot of fun to listen to. And I thought of a couple of people, hey, this would be interesting. We're always sort of looking for like the best business video, right? Like the best, and we don't really have a great one from corporate. And Julie Muse does have a great one. If you guys have not seen it recently, it's like a 6-minute business invite, just kind of touches the basics of the business, which is a good one. But it's fun to have these that are more of this interview style, like a podcast. And Doug does a really great job with that. And so they're just asking questions, they're talking. So it's not on Zoom. It is these two different ways that you can watch it. One is on YouTube on his own channel. You can watch that, and then also this link. So um, he just asks questions. But here's what I love about this. We can use this for any event. Okay, he's talking specifically to this event, but we can use this to help our people invite to events. If we're going to be getting people to Partner Plus, that means we have to lock arms with them and help them share Juice Plus. Some people walk in with enough skill sets that they can do that on their own, and they can get people to events or get them to order without much help from us, but most people can't. Most people need our help, and they're going to need verbiage and how to invite people to some event. And we can use this verbiage to invite our new people or those that we're thinking of inviting to our team to this. So this is who to invite to a business story event or this podcast style. So one, he says, engage customers. Two, somebody who's looking for more. Three, the ambitious and entrepreneurial minded people. And four, the not for me list of like people who have said not right now with Juice Plus. So let's go back over those. So who do we invite? This engaged customers and the product lovers. So they already love and trust the products. Hearing the story behind the business can be a natural next step that connects the dots for them. So they often make the most passionate partners. If you think about these are our raving fans. Think of it that way. You've heard that word before. So these are the ones that love their Juice Plus. They're always ordering on time. Very few or very not very often they have to delay. Maybe it's even people that send you referrals. So yeah, they've sent you referrals without prompting. They're customers who ask detailed questions, maybe about the company or the product, like they really want their belief built. And people who comment on your product related social media posts. So you can go back to those and see if you have any customers or friends that have commented on that. And then customers who've mentioned health and wellness as a passion, or you just know that that's part of their everyday life, you can invite them. The second group is the looking for more crowd. So these are the people in your network who have expressed a desire for more community, purpose, income, flexibility. This podcast story isn't a sales pitch, it's a potential solution to a problem that they've already mentioned. So look for friends, family, acquaintances who've talked about wanting a change, starting a side project, or feeling unfulfilled in their current roles. So someone who I thought about in this would be moms whose last child is going off to kindergarten, or moms whose last child are going off to college. This is like right now they're starting to think, what's my role? What do I do? Somebody who's recently retired, they were done with their, 25-year career in something, but yet what are they going to do now? Now that they have this freedom, they're going to enjoy this new freedom for a while, but they're going to miss out on community. So think about friends of yours that retired maybe a year ago that are past the excitement of, I have nothing to do, and are now in the, I have nothing to do. What do I do with this? And maybe hungry for some community and connection and some purpose that they may have sort of lost with that. Look for people who are in that empty nester crowd that are absolutely loving their freedom in their life. Like I love that right now. That's the season I'm in, but I still want connection. I still want something that brings me purpose. I would still be missing that if we were just traveling. Plus, you see different people and you're connecting with different groups of people. That's a great one as well. Like I said, if somebody whose life has changed for them, so they're with their aging parent more, they're going to need community with other people. They're going to want to see connections with maybe their world has gotten smaller, so they need a way to have an expanded world online. So be thinking about life change, people that are in a life change, people that have mentioned wanting additional income. I don't know about you guys, but like the expense of things comes up in like every conversation. If you're talking with men, for somebody more than 10 minutes, I swear it comes up where people are just like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. So that would be someone who might need some of additional income. Um, yeah, so that's one of those. The third group was ambitious and entrepreneurial mind people. They are wired to recognize opportunity. They'll be listing for systems, the growth potential, the lifestyle freedom. The stories of a successful partner provides the proof and the inspiration they need to say, okay, somebody else did that besides just Stacy or beside Marcia. Somebody else she knows has already seen those results. So you're looking for people who run their own business that already have a side hustle. They're natural leaders, and they're always talking about new ideas. And busy people get things done. So you can think, oh no, that person is way too busy. She already has her business. She already has what she's doing. But we know, like, I would rather have somebody in my network that is really busy than someone who's bored. Like somebody who's just bored and has nothing to do, they're probably maybe not as ambitious and self-starters. So you're looking for those entrepreneurial minded people in your network. Of any of these groups, I think this one describes me the most of like always got something going on, right? Like always looking for something. So then I can start thinking who else in my life does that? Who else is doing things on the side? Who else has booths everywhere I go has a booth? There was one girl that came to my mind. She now sells sourdough. She's never shown a huge interest in Juice Plus, but she has two little ones, and I saw her across the way selling sourdough and trying to keep her children corralled and talking to people and trying to keep them corralled. And I was like, dang, she's ambitious. Like she did it. She baked all that bread and she sold out. So I know she could use the extra income too. So I'm going to invite her to it. And then the last group is not for me. So this is a brilliant, often overlooked group. These people who have previously said no to the products, but it could be a perfect fit for the business. Inviting them to hear a story is a low pressure way to re-engage them in a completely different angle. I wouldn't have thought of this group, like, except for the not for me list, could really just be a change in timing of their life, where they weren't interested before and now they've said yes. So think of people that have said no to the business. those are the ones that I would think, yes, let's invite them because again, something may have changed in their life. So, um, you could also say, approach this group of this may not be for you. I know we've talked about it and you said it wasn't for you, but I'm curious as you watch this, who comes to your mind in your life that this could be a good fit for them? So you're asking them for referrals just to watch it for somebody else. And sometimes that opens up their mind to, wait, why isn't this for me? Why does she think that this isn't for me? And as they watch it, the information connects with them. So that's more of who would I would think of than not for me, not necessarily for the products. Because if they're not taking the product, I don't know. I mean, if they said yes to the business, they would start taking the products, but maybe it would be somebody who said they love the idea of Juice Plus, but they just can't afford it. Um, so then he goes into the actual invitation for the script for an engaged customer, for looking for more friend, an entrepreneurial contact, and a previously not for me contact. And so he gives some good follow-ups and that sort of thing. I thought this was great the way he organized it. I was super thankful for that. So I wanted to walk through this, like how do we use this? So often we'll get a tool and then we just kind of scan through it. It seems like a lot of information. Who has time for that? I'll come back to it later, and we don't actually dig into it. But this is really helpful. So you could sit down today, pick your event that you're going to invite to, whether you're going to do this one with Carrie Lynn, which I highly encourage you guys to. We're really great at inviting to the product, and we're really great at having product related events. But if we want to build our business, we have to do it through team. You're just going to really limit yourself if you're only focused on customers. So this is a really fun, lighthearted way to invite to a business related, business focused event that could really move some people forward. So I understand that this is probably outside of your comfort zone because of that. Like we're used to inviting to the customer side of things and not so much the business. So if you have a focus this week, we've got 2 days, you can say, oh, it's too close. Like I don't have enough time at event or to invite to the event. It's the yeah, but you really got to look for those yeah buts in your life. They're terrible. They hold you back. They distract you. No yeah buts in our business. We need, okay, I can do this. Like we just have to lean in and do the activity and trust that that's going to come to fruition, that we're going to get the results. So you guys, let's talk about, tell me, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. How is your follow-up or the events that you've done this week? Like give me an example of an conversation or something that has kind of been woken up and you got some results from that. Someone, I know someone's out there. All right, now, girls, we got to put into practice what we're learning. We can't just learn it. We have to do it. No one? No conversation that has happened this week or invitation to an event? Any customers, new orders that you guys got this week?
I'm going to chime in, but it wasn't this week. So,
Okay, that's fine.
it's not super current, but the last few, um, incentives, like the superfood one and the double your profit, both of those I was successful on, and that was all on following up. And there were some people, like I had done a sourdough workshop previously, and there were some people that said they were interested, and I just kept on following up, and then and it wasn't consistent, like it wasn't every week or every 30 days, like that's where I kind of struggle. Like sometimes it's like, oh shoot, I didn't follow up with that person. So, but saying that, like I just reminded them, like, I know you were really interested in Juice Plus. And then for the superfood powders has been a new conversation. Hey, this is now available. If you want to, I'll bring some over if you want to try it. That kind of thing. And so, um, but I've had my struggle this week. I don't know if this is what you want to hear, but I've been doing these sourdough workshops at a location. A woman has reached out to me and said, hey, can you come to our store and do these sourdough workshops? Great. Well, they're doing the inviting. So I don't really know who's coming, I've had one order and I've done three of those. So I don't know what the, but I followed up with the people and most people have replied. The people that have replied have said they aren't interested. There are some, but I just keep following up because you never, like the whole concept is you never know, right?
Right.
Um, so
Do you
I
have a sheet that they fill out with their information that they're interested in sourdough con information? Here's what I ask them: sourdough, local health events, and Juice Plus. And I do it at the end of my like sort of Juice Plus presentation. And are you presenting the gut health information at the class?
definitely presenting the gut health. That's like starting out with that. And then I actually have them complete the sheet at the beginning. And I never put, I haven't put Juice Plus on there because it's at the beginning and because it's so chaotic and I have such a short window there when I'm there.
Yeah,
Um, but what has helped me actually kind of gotten a few orders over the past several months has been at the events. I ask at the end, I said, anybody who's interested in Juice Plus, come see me. I do have a free gift, and I give them a bag of samples of all the samples. And I've definitely had a few that work that way. But
yeah,
the ones that I've struggled with are the ones that I don't know any of the people, and I didn't do the inviting.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are what we would consider like cold market, right? And I
Mhm.
find because I'm inviting like on Facebook and that sort of thing, I'm getting a lot of people I don't know at this point
Mhm.
at these events. It's those that we do know that we seem to get a better connection with because we've already had some sort of rapport built and
Yeah.
just all of that. So I would say, is there anyone that you really make any sort of connection with at those events that you're like, I really like her, she's a lot of fun, and or somebody that does have a health issue, maybe you could even ask that. Are there any specific health issues that anyone's dealing with that you want me to address during my gut health talk? You can go around the room and introduce everyone, and you can ask them in the same way, like, tell us your name. Have you ever made sourdough? And are there any health issues that your family is working on or you are working on that you want me to address in our gut health portion of the class? And then you're kind of you making some notes as they're talking. So then you could go back to that person after the class, even if they don't really show interest, and you can say, you mentioned at the beginning that you were dealing with diabetes or diabetes is in your family. I would love to go to coffee or lunch with you and just explore what that looks like for you and see if I have any contacts or resources that I can share with you. And so then you would have some more one-on-one time with them, and that could get the conversation going to where you're building more rapport with them. I've done that a couple of times and I have found that helpful. I don't know if that's possible for you, but that really expands your market past just the surface of one sourdough class.
I like that too because I've been doing, and I think I'm going to change this now going forward. In there, I've always said, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves and rate your gut health. But people just go five and then move on. And I'm always like, well, let's talk. I like the way you address that. So I'm going to change it to that because that's so subjective and it really doesn't make that big a difference all
And
the time.
I do ask them, tell me, when you think of poor gut health, what are the symptoms? Like, what are things that come to mind when you think of poor gut health? So I'm wanting them to engage in the conversation too. And then somebody inevitably says like heartburn. And like this was the young girl said heartburn. And I was like, interesting that she would know that that is gut health related at 22 years old. Like there's something there, some like either she knows somebody who has dealt with that or she has at this young of age. So I just kind of piqued my interest. That will be part of my follow-up when I reconnect with her, that was the first thing that came to your mind. Is that something that you deal with or someone you know deals with? Now I can bring it a little bit more personal to her and like try to keep that conversation going. So you can, like, if you're getting their engagement in the presentation too, I find that that helps. And then I'll ask them another question that helps is engagement, is I'll ask them, Tell me, when you think of like rebuilding your gut health, what comes to your mind? And inevitably, somebody says probiotics. So then we get to talk about that and the difference between probiotics and a whole food option, and then how we have to feed the good bacteria, and that leads to the Juice Plus part of that conversation. And then also, Beth, are you making any samples? So making samples of the shakes and the superfood powders for them to try?
I don't do, I'm bringing this all to a store, so it's a
Yeah,
little more difficult, but I do bring the protein balls and I bring the samples of the superfood powder.
yeah,
I
perfect.
try to keep it as simple as possible on that one. Like at home, I make do
Yeah,
other
it's hard when you're going somewhere else.
things.
I agree. The other thing is, would she be open to doing a health event at her store? So, like, now they're going back to a location that they're familiar with because they've already been there, and those are more of her contacts. They might be more open to returning to do like a very specific or a more in-depth gut health event where you could really watch a video and like a watch party and go into more depth with that. You could do different themed events like a heart health, whatever, monthly event that she might be open to, especially if she's got that many contacts, like maybe that could be a thing. Like a
Yeah,
continued education type of event.
I'll talk to her about it. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Where they don't know you, they do know her,
Yeah.
obviously, right? And they were willing to come to an event. So they're not all going to come back, but those are at least people that you've already had some contact with.
Yeah. She gets a lot of the people that come via Instagram. So they follow her on Instagram, like follow the store because it's a part of another, it's just Dallas thing. But that's how they, like, I don't even know how many she knows personally, but they are her followers on the store.
Okay, I get that. And what are you charging for the class?
I charge 50.
Yeah, good. I was gonna say, please
She
compensate
charges
yourself.
75
Okay.
and they pay. I'm like, she just gives me the 50. But
Yeah,
I
that's
always,
great.
I don't, I usually do a portion of that to Pure Hope, or maybe I'll do right this month. I'm doing it to the Kerrville, Texas flooding,
Right.
or tsunami, really.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, that's great, Beth. I think people really connect with that too, and I'm sure you share with them. So that's sweet. I'm glad you're getting compensated. I just raised my price to 35 and it didn't affect anyone not coming. So at least with these, we can find a way to build a little bit of income. So it's
yeah,
a lot of prep work. It is.
yeah.
And
Somebody,
so,
somebody told me I was charging. This is like maybe when I upped my price, I was doing 25, and
mhm,
they're like, Beth, you were not charging enough. And I
yeah,
go, well, it's not really about that. And I said, she goes, but you're doing a lot of work. She goes, if you go to Central Market, which is a store here in Texas, she said they're charging $250 for a sourdough or something crazy like that. And I'm like, okay, 50 is not bad.
right? Yeah. All right, Lisa, thank you, Beth. Lisa, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, I had a past, well, it's not even my customer, a past downlines customer come to me recently and want to order. And I felt good about it because I actually stepped back because I kind of remembered why she ordered, but I went back to Bob Heilig and started asking questions on why did she want to reorder, and how did it make her feel, and those types of things. So I felt like I grew in that area, not to just be sitting there and go, okay, great, thanks for the order. She hasn't ordered. So one of the things God's laid on my mind the last couple of weeks is follow up, follow up, follow up. So even though I did follow up with her a couple times, I need to follow up with her again because she did say she was going to place the order. There's no problem with placing the order. But that's such a huge thing because I looked last night to see if she'd ordered and she still hadn't. Not sure why. I'm sure something came up. Um, so I feel like also the next thing is that I'm rebuilding because I feel like I keep calling the same people. They say they want to get together. They're not doing it. So I'm not going to get in my mind that I'm being ghosted. I'm going to get in my mind they're busy. It's summer, and I'm just going to move on to other people and come back to those. And lastly, as you inspired me, a couple people about Carrie Lynn, because I've been thinking who else to invite. But just I like that retired people, people who want more community. That like I have some people who like one person that you said child's going to kindergarten, so that's helpful. I can think of a couple of those. So that was helpful because sometimes I wait like till tomorrow again. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't invite this person. So that's on my list today to finish up inviting to that. And if someone else comes, they come. But if they don't, do
Right.
my best.
Right, exactly. And don't forget to help use AI to help you with the verbiage of that invite text message to them. Just make sure you say it's a text so it'll keep it short, but you can feed it the information, you can feed it the flyer, you can give it some detail about why this person might be interested. Copy and paste some of the verbiage off of that link I just gave you, like be specific of what do you want it to tell, and you can say, make it relatable to a young mom, make it relatable to somebody who is just recently retired. Like, take the pressure off of the perfection of our invitation, which will hold us back and keep us delayed, which isn't helpful. And then just send those messages out. So, great reminder, Lisa. All right, Miss Marcia.
Well, I was just going to talk to Beth a little bit because I had that same situation with, doing the sourdough events at a store. And I asked the person who's taking the invites to give me the names ahead of time and the contact information so that I can send them the same information that I send somebody ahead of time. Like it's a page that I send that tells about the class and sets it up to let them know this is a gut health workshop that you're going to learn about sourdough. But I make sure that they know ahead of time we're going to learn about gut health. And so they're primed and ready to hear some of that message. I think that's one thing. And then I would find a way to make sure that list of their names and their, would you like to hear more about blah, 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 comes at the end. I would definitely turn that around and put that at the end, no matter how chaotic or whatever it seems to be, because after they've heard the information is when you want them to say, I'd like to hear more about health events or Juice Plus or, free product for my kid, that kind of thing. So those are my tips that I've used. Now, have I gotten a ton of success from those events? No, it is harder. It is definitely harder at those events rather than the ones that I invite to come to my house or I go to their house or whatever to do sourdough. It's a harder conversation, to follow up and everything. But those are some things that have helped in the event to get conversation going.
So that's a great idea, getting their contact information ahead of time so that you can do that. And then also, like if you've got project broadcast, I always keep them in the list, for future events, for local events and that sort of thing. And I think that's a good way to put it, Marcia. It's almost like those are contacts from a booth, right? Like we know contacts from a booth are going to be a different conversation, a longer conversation typically than a referral from a friend,
Mhm.
or your grandma. Maybe grandmas can be set in their ways. They're not taking it. But like, a warm market conversation versus a cold. So these are cold market conversations. So at the event, you're doing all you can to find what their interest might be or some way to stay in contact with them afterwards. So that's a great idea to have their information already. Yeah, so Michelle, you're asking for the event with Layla. I know it was posted in our DMOpro Zoom chat on Voxer, but I'm sure we can find it again. And I'm curious if you guys know how to use the search feature on Voxer. I've talked with other team members, they didn't even know that this was a thing, but if you're on your homepage and you pull it down, then it says search. So I'm just gonna put let's put Layla, but that's not how she spells her name. It's L-A.
Leana.
No, Leala.
Oh, late. L-E.
Leala.
L-E.
Yeah. Leela, Leala, Leela Dunn. Okay, so then it says, do you want to search in contacts and or in the messages? So I'm going to do messages, and then that shows everything up. And the first thing it says, Skeptic to Success, Layla's Juice Plus Journey. So this was posted in a couple of different chats that I was in, and then it just pulls up right there, and you've got that that message. So if you guys are not paying for Pro, you're not going to have that option. Also, not with Pro, you will only have so long before the messages in a group are gone to where you can't scroll back up and see something. So for $3, I highly recommend go for the Pro on Voxer because of that feature alone, that you're able to be able to search that with that function. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, one of my team members showed me, same thing right above the search, it says edit. If you go to edit, and if you're really behind on all of your messages, and you're thinking like, there's no way I can keep up with this or catch up, it will give you the option. You can choose the chats that you want, and you choose those, and then you can, at the bottom, it says all read, and you clear all of them out that instantly. So you don't even have to go into each one and mark all of them read. And I don't know, sometimes I just look through if anything's been posted the last like 3 days, past 3 days, it's almost like not even relevant. It's like, so because information is coming in so fast, and then I just clear all, and it's like, oh, look, I'm all caught up, and then I can just move forward without thinking I have to go through all of those. So that's just two little tips on Voxer. Lisa, did you want to share something else?
Wanted to ask you a quick question. You mentioned when you were talking about gut health and stuff, and when you were talking to people and asking questions, I just want to clarify, when do you answer any of their questions or their information then, or do you mostly just follow up with those questions later, if that makes sense? Like you said something about what comes to mind when you think of, healing your gut, and this person said blah, blah, blah. So do you talk about that then, or do you just wait for follow-up?
Just depends. So I'll most of the time I'm like, exactly, yes, that's one that's often overlooked. And then they're just kind of popcorn putting the information out there. So I just say yes. But let's just say you're in a group. I don't know if you guys have known ever done this, where you're leading a group conversation or a discussion. And sometimes it can get to where one person is just way over talking, they're oversharing, and you're like, oh, we're going to be here all day. So if you're afraid to ask questions within a group, just use this little tactic. This always works. So somebody's over talking, and I'm like, this is getting way too personal. It's way too long. Nobody else in this room needs to hear any of this information. Clearly, they need some help and are going to need my more personalized attention. So I will just kind of stop them even mid-sentence, and I will say, you know what, that is so interesting. I've never really looked at it that way, or that really deserves a lot more of my attention, and I want to come back to that. So I'm going to come back to you. Um, so that's what I'll say. I'm going to come back to you. I want to come back to you because that's really an important aspect. And then I move to the next person. So I say, okay, what would you say? Or what's your, what, tell me your name. And then I tell them I'm going to swing back to them. So that often means at the end, I'm going to give them more attention when everything's over. And then I'll say, I wanted to come back to you. I said that I would come back, and I do want to talk more about that. What do you think about going to coffee? Or if we've got time that night, but be careful with those at the end of the event too, because they can suck you into a conversation, and then you can't spread yourself, to other conversations to help give them their, an order form or help build the cart. And then you can kind of lose everyone else because they have to leave. So if you just have somebody that's just taking over that conversation, or if that's a worry of yours, that one seems to work really well, where I'll say, that's a great point, and I want to come back to that. And then, I mean, just depending on the group, sometimes I'm never going to come back to that because they could just suck you into 2 hours of discussion that's going to lead nowhere. So it's a way to kind of get the discussion back on the track that you want it to go on. So that might help. All right, guys, I'm gonna end this recording. Oh wait, not end the recording. Hold on. Just end the recording, not the whole thing. Did I not record this? No, I did. Okay, there it is.